A couple years ago, I was talking to a friend who is like recovering from alcohol addiction, and has been in the fire, and Jesus pulled him out. He's so thankful for that, and he works and helps others to that. And we were talking about, when we say, "Oh, I'm struggling with this," right? And we're looking at lust all week, and it's something I think when you look at the numbers of people who go on, like for example, pornographic website apps. It is ridiculous. The number of people who struggle, we'll use that word, struggle with it, who are, maybe just flat out addicted, is like, it's scary. It's scary, the numbers that are out there. It's something we don't really like to talk about. Jesus had no problem talking about it. In that tail end of Matthew's gospel, he's like, look, you look at that woman and you're fantasizing. And actually what you're doing is you're actually committing adultery when you're doing that. In your mind, you're doing that. Again, you could go, hey, I didn't touch her. But he says, like, in your mind, what was going on there? And so all week we're going to be looking at that. And Paul gives us one of the strongest things in Colossians 3:5. Because as I was talking with my friend, we talked about how sometimes we fall in love with the struggle. Right? And it's a struggle. I'm struggling, right? I'm struggling. And what were to happen if God won that struggle for us? Right? Like if he gave us the strength and that was no longer an issue. Sometimes we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves because we're so much about the struggle, and we sort of romanticize it. And I thought, yeah, that's probably true. More than we want to admit. Now, if you were in a fight with a lion, or probably closer to home, an attacker, right? Some dude comes at you with a knife. You're not going to see that as a struggle, right? You're not going to say, I'm struggling with this guy. You're like, no, I need to put this needs to stop. This guy needs to be stopped any way that I can. Paul says, Galatians 3:5, put to death. Therefore. Why did he say put it to death? And why therefore? And if you go back to verse 1, he says, you've been raised with Christ, so seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God, right? You've died, he says, your life is hidden with Christ. So if he died to defeat death and sin, and that includes lust, that includes greed, that includes all those things, like, why in the world would I continue to give them life and give them a part and a place in my life? He goes, no, so put them to death. And in a lot of ways, he's going, because Christ already put them to death. He already defeated them. He already, right, put a bullet right between the eyes of all of those things. Done. They're out. Down for the count. It's only when I resuscitate them and bring them back and bring that garbage back into my life, I got myself to blame. We got this verse. So put it to death, he says. What is earthly in you? In other words, what's about not God and his love, but about greed, lust, all those things. And he unpacks it for us. Sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. Right? So we're putting things before God, things that we're saying, I need this, I need this, I need that, right? Everybody else is doing it, and everyone else thinks this way, and this is the way the world is, right? And we make excuses, but God's going, look, God is what we need. His love is what we need. His forgiveness is what we need, and it's what we have. We've been raised with him. So let's put those things to death every day. Let's say, you know what? No. Treat it like it's something that's dead. Right? If it helps, think of it like a zombie that's going to devour you. Right? You're not going to let that thing stick around. You're not going to let that into your house. So don't. And let's pray. Let's ask God to help us to really see it that way. And let's share this with others who need to know, to see it that way, as something that's just, it's like a zombie. It's dead. It's something that, and I need to put it to death once and for all. Because I want that freedom that Jesus gave to me. All right, so I pray this helps you. Share this with someone. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you next time.